Everyone thinks they understand the Emily Rose case. A girl, a possession, a series of exorcisms that went too far. But the deeper you look into what really happened, the less it makes sense, because this wasn't just a story. The Emily Rose case is one of the most famous possession stories in history. But the deeper you look, the less it makes sense. And what makes this story even more disturbing is that Emily Rose wasn't just a character, she was based on a real person named Anneliese Michel. Anneliese Michel was born in Germany in 1952. She grew up in a strict Catholic household. Quiet, religious, and deeply devoted to her faith. By all accounts, she was normal. A good student, a kind person. There was nothing unusual about her life until she turned 16. It started with something doctors could explain. Seizures. Sudden, violent, and uncontrollable. She was diagnosed with epilepsy, then later psychosis. Doctors prescribed medication, and for a while, it seemed manageable, but then things changed. But voices she believed were demonic. She claimed they told her she was damned, that she would burn in hell forever. She started seeing disturbing visions, faces, figures, things no one else could see. And then her behavior began to shift. She became withdrawn, aggressive, terrified of religious objects she once loved. She said she couldn't walk into a church, that something inside her wouldn't let her. She began to scream during prayer, refuse holy water. At times, she would growl. Other times, she claimed multiple entities were speaking through her. Not one voice, but many. Her family turned back to doctors. Stronger medication, more treatment. But nothing worked. In fact, things seemed to get worse. The voices didn't stop. The visions didn't fade. And eventually, Anneliese became convinced of one thing. She wasn't sick. She was possessed. At first, the church refused. They believed it was a medical condition, not something supernatural. But as her condition continued to deteriorate, even some clergy began to question what they were seeing. After months of pleading, permission was finally granted. An exorcism would be performed. What followed was not one ritual, but dozens. Over the course of nearly a year, Anneliese underwent 67 exorcism sessions, each one lasting hours. During these sessions, she would scream, thrash, and speak in voices her family barely recognized. Some claimed she identified the entities inside her. Names, personalities. 6 at one point. But while the rituals continued, her body began to fail. She stopped eating, stopped drinking properly. Her weight dropped dangerously low. Still, the sessions didn't stop, because her family and the priests believed they were close to saving her. In 1976, Anneliese Michel died. She weighed just 30 kilograms. Officially, the cause of death was malnutrition and dehydration. But that answer didn't satisfy everyone. Her parents and the 2 priests were put on trial, accused of negligence. The court argued she should have received medical care, that her death could have been prevented. They were found guilty. But even during the trial, questions remained, because some people believed, despite everything, that what happened to Anneliese couldn't be fully explained by science. The recordings from the exorcisms still exist, and those who've heard them say the same thing. Something about them feels wrong. So what really happened? Was Anneliese Michel a victim of untreated mental illness, or something far more disturbing? Because even now, the Emily Rose case still doesn't make sense. For more eye-catching and true crime stories like this, just click on the subscription button.